My life had crumbled. It felt like everything I'd worked for was falling apart, and I wasn't sure what was left to hold on to. But in the midst of my despair, I overheard a conversation that shifted everything. A CEO named Ethan had just closed a massive international deal. The news reached me indirectly, through whispers and side glances. I could feel the uncertainty growing among my family. Though they didn't speak to me directly, the tension in the air was palpable. I didn't let it faze me. I knew better than to rush things. True power isn't about making a spectacle. It's about controlling the narrative, and sometimes that means waiting for the perfect moment. I let them think they had me figured out, let their curiosity grow and fester, while I prepared to turn everything upside down. When the time came, it wouldn't be about getting back at them. It would be about reshaping the power dynamic entirely, making it clear that the roles they thought they played in my life were finished.
Revenge isn't about haste, it's about precision. You bide your time, wait for the moment to align perfectly, and then you strike. I could feel it coming. My contact, a trusted ally, had been collecting the pieces I needed, and when I saw the reports, it confirmed everything I had suspected. My family's stable image was a facade. My parents were nearing financial ruin, but had too much pride to admit it. My sister, Emily, was deep in debt, maxed out credit cards, loans with astronomical interest rates, and an SUV she could barely afford. She'd even stopped paying her second mortgage, which, by all accounts, was a ticking time bomb. But the one detail that caught my attention was buried deep within my father's financial records, a risky investment he'd made years ago. He'd personally guaranteed a loan for a small property development company, and if it failed, he'd be liable for over 6 figures. The company was barely holding on, with the likelihood of collapse looming within a few months. That was my opening.
I didn't need to destroy them financially. Too messy, too obvious. What I needed was for them to walk into a trap of their own making, where their arrogance would take them down and I would be the one to pick up the pieces. I was already positioning myself for a move that would put me in the driver's seat. It wasn't long before I got a call from an editor I'd met in New York months earlier. She wanted me to be the centerpiece of a feature on underestimated entrepreneurs, a multi-page spread with professional photos showcasing my story. It was an incredible opportunity, but I had one condition. The article had to be published in the same month my father's investment was due to implode. Coincidence? Not a chance.
A few weeks later, an even more enticing opportunity arrived. A real estate investment firm I'd worked with before reached out. They were acquiring distressed assets, and because I had a history with them, they offered me first dibs. The list of properties they sent me was full of interesting projects, but one stood out, an underdeveloped set of townhomes that belonged to my father's struggling property company. I didn't jump in immediately. I took my time, read through the contracts, and set up my position so that if the company defaulted as expected, I could acquire the entire project at a fraction of its value. This wasn't just about money, it was about control. The best part was that no one would know my true motivation. I would come out looking like a savvy investor, but in reality, I just outplayed them, and they wouldn't even see it coming. I kept my distance from the family, but I made sure my name was in the air. Emily asked around, wondering if I was actually doing well or just pretending for appearances. My mother heard about my international travels and asked Jacob, a family friend, if I'd gotten lucky with something. Their curiosity was growing, and I could feel it.
They had no idea what was about to hit them. I wasn't just about to succeed, I was going to control the board they didn't even realize we were playing on. They would soon be on the defensive, second-guessing everything. And when the moment came, it would be public, undeniable, and perfectly timed. The magazine feature hit at the start of the month. My face was on the cover. Sharp suit, city skyline, a headline screaming, "From doubt to dominance." The article wasn't explicitly about my family, but it didn't need to be. The message was clear. I had risen from nothing, proving everyone wrong. And the timing couldn't have been better. By the time the article hit newsstands, my phone was buzzing non-stop. Texts, calls, messages flooding in from colleagues, acquaintances, even distant friends. And just as I expected, the first message came from my mother. "Ethan, we saw the magazine. We had no idea things had gotten this big for you. We're proud of you." Proud? After years of dismissing me? After taking from me, using me as the punchline to their jokes? The words felt hollow. I didn't respond. 2 weeks later, the inevitable happened. My father's company defaulted on its loan. The bank moved fast, and the investment firm I was working with swooped in, buying the townhome development at a deep discount. And because I'd been strategic, I now owned it. My father's largest asset was mine. I didn't make a move immediately. I waited 3 days before arranging a meeting with my parents and Emily at a neutral location, a fancy downtown restaurant. The invitation came with the promise of discussing a business opportunity. They couldn't resist. Suddenly, their tone had shifted after the magazine feature. They were eager to reconnect. When they arrived, they were all smiles. My mother hugged me, something she hadn't done in years. My father shook my hand like we were old business partners. Emily even complimented my suit. But I wasn't here for pleasantries. I slid a folder across the table halfway through dinner. Inside was the ownership document for the development project they'd been so proud of. My father's smile faltered as he read it. This is our property," he said, his voice tinged with disbelief. "Correction," I said, my tone calm and measured. "It was your property. It's mine now." They sat in stunned silence as I explained the details. The company had defaulted, the bank had sold it off, and I had purchased it through the firm, legally and without emotion. "How could you?" My mother's voice shook with disbelief. I leaned forward slightly, my eyes locking onto hers. "The same way you took from me. The same way you gave Emily money that wasn't yours to give. The same way you kicked me out of your house and told everyone I was homeless. I learned from the best." My father looked small for the first time in my life. He leaned back, eyes flicking between the papers and my face. I didn't raise my voice, I just laid out the facts. "When this project turns a profit, and it will, not a cent of it will have your name on it." The table was silent. No arguments, no apologies, just the weight of what had happened settling over them. I finished my meal in silence, paid the bill, and stood to leave. "Enjoy your evening," I said, my tone polite but final. "And don't worry about the staff at the development site. I've already reassured them their jobs are secure, just not yours." The fallout came faster than I anticipated. Within days, I received a call from Jacob. His voice was low, like he wasn't sure whether to sound concerned or impressed. "Your parents are losing it," he said. "Your dad hasn't left the house in 2 days. Your mom's been calling everyone she knows, trying to fix things, but people already know you own the property. The word's out, and people are talking. It turned out the story had spread faster than I expected. My father's failed investment was no longer a quiet family matter. It was public knowledge among their social circles. The same people they used to boast about their success to were now whispering about how their reckless son had outsmarted them in business.
As for Emily, her world was crumbling too. Without the financial cushion she'd relied on, she had to downgrade her SUV when the lease came up. For someone whose image was built on luxury, that was a public humiliation. A few weeks later, I heard she had put her condo up for sale. My parents tried reaching out twice. The first time was a text from my mom. "Can we talk? We're still family." I ignored it. The second time was a voicemail from my father. His voice was strained. "We need to find a way forward. You can't just cut us off like this." I deleted it without listening to the end.
Months later, the development project began to turn a profit. The townhomes sold far quicker than anticipated, and my share of the returns easily overshadowed the small amount of money they'd stolen from me years ago. It felt like a rounding error in the grand scheme of things. Sometimes, when I drive past the completed site, I see families moving in, children playing in front of their new homes. The streets, freshly paved and vibrant with life, are now mine, built from their arrogance and from my patience. I remember the first time I passed the site after the sales had gone through. I stopped for a moment, parked across the street, and watched the scene unfold before me. It was surreal. I'd never thought about the long-term consequences of their actions, not in the way I was seeing it now. My vision wasn't just of financial gain, it was of transformation. As for my parents, I never saw them again. At least, not in the way I once had. The rumors that trickled back through Jacob painted a stark picture of their downward spiral. They sold their vacation home to keep up appearances, and I heard Emily had taken on extra cases at her law firm to stay afloat, though I knew it wasn't enough to save her. Her image was crumbling, piece by piece, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. It was all part of the game they had played, except now, I was the one who controlled the rules.
The last time I heard from my mother was a brief, almost brittle email. "You've changed." I read it twice. The words seemed hollow, like she didn't even know who I was anymore. Or maybe she was just too blind to see the truth. I hadn't changed at all. I had simply stopped playing the role they had cast me in, the role they had always wanted me to fit into, the one they used to manipulate and control. I closed my laptop and looked out the window of my penthouse, watching the city lights blink below me. It felt different now. For the first time, I didn't need anyone else's approval. The emptiness I used to feel was gone. In its place was something far more powerful: freedom. The ability to choose my own path without relying on anyone. No more pretending, no more conforming. I had built something of my own, something real, and I didn't need them to recognize it.
As I sat there, in the quiet of my apartment, I thought about everything that had led up to this moment. The years of tension, the betrayal, the moments of doubt. I had been through hell to get here. I had been knocked down more times than I could count, but every time I got back up. I built something that couldn't be taken away. When I was younger, I thought I needed my family to validate me. I thought that their opinions, their perceptions of who I was, mattered. But now, sitting in this penthouse, looking out over the city I had taken from them, albeit without the violence or chaos they expected, I realized that the real victory wasn't in the money or the properties or the deals I had made. The victory was that I had finally stopped caring what they thought.
It was late one evening when I spoke aloud to myself for the first time, feeling a strange sense of satisfaction ripple through me. The thought crossed my mind, and I said it out loud, just to hear it in the silence. Just once, for my own satisfaction, I didn't just live on the streets. I bought the whole block. It was a strange feeling, almost surreal. There was no joy in it, no celebration, but there was something immensely satisfying about it, something that felt like closure. The power wasn't in the wealth. It wasn't in the properties or the deals. It was in what they had taken from me and how I had made it mine again. They hadn't just underestimated me. They had thought they could control me, break me down, and use me as their scapegoat. But in the end, I wasn't the one who had been broken. Now, it was my name that echoed in the circles they once moved in. I was no longer the son they dismissed. I was the one who had taken the reins, reshaped everything, and forced them to watch as I built something they could never touch.
The years passed, and the changes were undeniable. My father, once the cornerstone of our family's reputation, faded into obscurity. My mother continued to try to regain some semblance of control, but she was a shadow of the woman she once was. And Emily, well, she never fully recovered from the financial hole she dug herself into, trying desperately to maintain a lifestyle that no longer suited her. I never saw them again. I didn't need to. They had all made their choices. They had written their own endings, and I had simply been the one to turn the page. As for me, I kept building. The city was mine, in a way. My empire, my rules. I never looked back. And as I continued to rise, I realized that the real power I had earned wasn't just in what I'd acquired. It was in the fact that I was no longer defined by them, no longer held back by their expectations. I was my own person. Finally, the game had changed, and I had won.